I'm Jeff Hunt. He's Bill Thorpe. It's spicy today.
What are we going to fight about now?
Campaign finance.
Oh, okay.
State investigating Ron Weinberg on some campaign finance violations, all alleged. We're going to talk to the man himself. Representative Ron Weinberg joining us here in just a second. Now it's time for news and comment with Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Good Tuesday morning, 31 and mostly cloudy in Denver. Kind of breaking up. You see the sunshine out there. Expecting a high of 49 today. News sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story, DJT set to hold a cabinet meeting at the White House this hour. It comes on the same day. 47 expected to make an announcement about Trump accounts. They're being billed as a tax advantage savings and investment account established through the passage of DJT's big, beautiful bill signed into law in July. Big dummy James Comey.
You big dummy, you big dummy, you big cold-blooded dummy, you big dummy.
And Big Tish are set to be indicted again, most likely this week after an activist court threw out the charges, praying that justice is coming, please. Dummy Comey counted his seashells too soon. Here's CNN.
FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James to a grand jury. According to people familiar with the situation inside the Justice Department, it is expected to happen quickly, perhaps within a week. The court tossed out both the Comey and James cases. The judge found interim U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan did not have the legal authority of a prosecutor when the two were indicted.
And now it's time for corrupt John Brennan, who hates America, loves Islam, and led Barry Soetoro to try and destroy the country. The National Guard member shot last week is making progress. That's according to West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey.
We were told that Andrew was asked if he could hear the nurse who asked the question to give a thumbs up, and he did respond.
Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf is now out of a medically induced coma. The suspect in the shooting, of course, is an Afghan national who worked with the CIA in Afghanistan. Accused killer Luigi Mangione back in court today in New York as his attorneys look to potentially suppress evidence in his case. Voters headed to the polls in Tennessee for a special House election. Democrats are hoping to ride their commie wave after major wins in November elections. The race between Democrat Afton Bain, who hates all that is great about Tennessee, and Republican Matt Van Epps has unexpectedly turned into a tight race according to the latest polls. Denver police asking for help locating a vehicle connected to a deadly weekend shooting. Leah Romero says she was in the car just before her father, Miguel Romero, was shot during an argument with another driver.
Road raging ain't worth it. Just go on about your day, because you never know what the other person's intentions are.
Romero was shot and killed following a traffic dispute with a man who may be in his mid-20s. Police looking for a white or light-colored small pickup truck that is similar in size to a Chevrolet Colorado. Anyone with information should contact Metro Denver Crime Stoppers. Russian President Putin is meeting with the U.S. at the Kremlin today as talks to end the war in Ukraine continue. Please, that thing, just end that thing. The Patriots have won 10 straight after a 33-15 win over the Giants on Monday Night Football. Pats are 11-2. College football playoff rankings will be released tonight, so you can check out the bracket as they get ready for the playoffs. And Bill Belichick has reportedly, this is interesting, contacted Tom Brady to help coach. Quarterbacks, OC, consultant, we'll see.
What? I thought they were in a feud.
Yeah, isn't that funny? You never know.
Huh.
I mean, that's what the report says. I mean, you never know. Sometimes we think we know more than we do. So keep an eye on that. But, man, he's great on TV. I love him as an analyst because you know what? He's the GOAT. Have to admit it. I mean, I love John, love Elway. He's, to me, the greatest natural quarterback, but Brady is the GOAT. And anytime he talks, I'm going to listen. So he's a great analyst on TV. So we'll see what happens there. That mess in North Carolina. Mavericks beat the Nuggets 131-121. Canucks at the Avalanche tonight in NHL action in Lodo. 28 in Castle Rock, 30 in Westminster, 31 in Denver, and you're waking up with Jeff and Billy. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
A winter weather advisory is in effect midnight tonight through 6 p.m. tomorrow. Mostly cloudy today. Temperatures will be a bit more mild, making the 40s. Tonight, however, developing snow, starting with snow showers this evening, then a steadier snow overnight, lows in the low to mid-20s. A good chance of snow Wednesday, especially early in the day, tapering off by late afternoon and evening. Could see 2 to 4 inches of new snow total by late tomorrow. Highs tomorrow upper 20s, teens tomorrow night. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Headline from the Denver Post: State investigates Representative Ron Weinberg for alleged campaign finance violations. The Colorado Secretary of State's office is investigating campaign finance violations alleged against the Larimer County State Rep Ron Weinberg after a complaint filed by a fellow Republican legislator resulted in the office advancing the case to a higher level of scrutiny. Weinberg is alleged to have violated campaign finance regulations in a complaint filed in August by Colorado Representative Brandy Bradley. And on November 19th, the Secretary of State's office filed a notice of investigation into Weinberg's campaign spending. The complaint claims that Weinberg has made multiple improper campaign finance expenditures since 2023, including sponsorship of a rugby team based in Tel Aviv, paying hotel bills in Denver and Blackhawk, and spending $396.23 on cigars. Well, I texted Representative Weinberg, asked him to come on and take these allegations head on. He joins us now. Representative, glad to have you this morning. Thank you, sir.
Morning.
Thank you. Good morning, Jeff and Bill. How are you guys doing?
Great. So walk us through these. The sponsorship of a rugby team based in Tel Aviv. What happened there?
Yep, Tel Aviv, Israel. So October 7th happened, and a lot of the rugby sponsorships in Glendale actually lost sponsorships for their rugby team. So they knew I was a rugby coach, and I ended up helping out the team by sponsoring them with my campaign logo I was running at the time. And yeah, I checked with my registration multiple times.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that a violation of campaign law to put your campaign logo out as an advertisement?
I don't know, but you can see on the jersey, I had the whole Israeli rugby team sign the jersey for me. It was an honor to be there. We watched them play. Unfortunately, they didn't win, but it was an honor to sponsor them. And through the campaign, we definitely had constituents there who saw my logo, and we were blasted all over. So I thought it was a good expense, especially because I actually did get elected.
I mean, it seems like you're allowed to put your logo on lots of different things: billboards, flyers, signs. But the sponsorship of a rugby team would somehow be a violation. Have you heard anything from the state as to why that in particular is a violation of campaign finance law?
No, they've been very quiet, very in the dark. We've just been giving them whatever they ask for. Everything has been explained by email multiple times to multiple departments. We never get any rulings on anything. All we do is just get, okay, now we're going into investigation phase. So, no, I haven't heard anything. All I'm doing is being fully transparent with them, opening up all my books as it is open and has been open for many years for anybody to look into. And everything was for the campaign, for sure.
Let's talk about the paying of hotel bills in Denver and Blackhawk. What are those about?
So Blackhawk, the actual GOP, has a retreat. So the caucus members, all 19 of us at the time, were sent to Blackhawk to have a retreat together before the session started. You could even dig into other Republican representatives. They have the same charges for the same hotels that we went down for a Republican retreat. I'm kind of confused how come I'm being flagged when others have the exact same charges, and for a GOP retreat, which we were told can be paid for with campaign funds by our GOP staff.
How about the $396.23 on cigars?
My volunteers love cigars. We had a huge victory party after the fact, after we had found out the election winning, and literally explained by I try to give my money back to the people that donated to me. And we had a great evening, a big party, which none of the constituents or the volunteers that helped paid for anything. We literally just shove it back to them and try and drain the account to zero until we have to go back again and decide to run for re-election.
Now, these allegations are coming from a fellow Republican, Representative Brandy Bradley. Why do you think that's the case?
You know, I'm not quite sure, to be honest. It's kind of weird that, you know, July 2nd, obviously there was a vacate of the whip's position for the House Minority Leadership Team. And, you know, it's very suspicious to me that the minute I announce for whip, the next day following, I'm lambasted, slandered in multiple different fashions. And it doesn't seem coincidental, in my opinion. I think it's got something to do with me running for the position of whip.
Some of those allegations were tied to inappropriate comments made, leadership of the program of the Rockies event. There's lawsuits. I've looked at some of the accusations in public filings. They've claimed you've made wildly inappropriate comments towards women. What's your response to their accusations?
You know, it's been a couple months, and I'm sure everybody's waiting to hear from me. I had to keep it a little bit quiet about what was happening for the first thing. And, you know, my wife joins me. She's with me for everything. If you know anything about where I am in the public sector, I'm always traveling with my wife. I mean, Jeff, how many times have you come down to the Capitol and my wife's always on my hip? So I'm lucky that she's there and she's able to witness everything. So what's been transpiring for the past couple of months with those false allegations is I actually decided to get a lawyer and sue for slander. Right now, the case is in proceedings and should be heard next year. The most suspicious part about the accusers is that they're not willing to have their day in court. They're filing a motion with the courts at this point to do an anti-slap, which means they are claiming that it's freedom of speech, what they did, and that because I'm an elected official, they don't need to go to court or anything, and that it's fine for them to say whatever they want. So that's a little suspicious to me. I'm willing to have a day in court. This is the United States of America. It's one of the biggest reasons I came here was for justice and law and order, innocent until proven guilty. I'm willing to have the day in court to be proved of all of these absolutely disgusting and vile things that would never come out of my mouth, especially while my wife is next to me at all these events and my two children, which were a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old at the time. So we have a lot of witnesses at the event. We have a lot of affidavits. We have a lot of pulling. We're just waiting now for the ruling as to whether a judge is going to rule because I am an elected official that this will not be heard in court, and this will fall under elected officials can get slandered and said anything about them because of a law passed, I believe, in 2019 by one of the Democratic representatives in the House of Representatives that is still there today.
We're talking with Representative Ron Weinberg. Alongside his wife, he's a Colorado state representative. He's taking head on some of the allegations in the Denver Post that he's violated campaign finance laws, as well as some of the allegations that came out earlier this summer that he's made inappropriate comments around women. I read the allegations. They center around a bar and activities that took place at a bar. And I kind of see him one of three explanations here. One, either you did make the comments and that they were wildly inappropriate. Two, you didn't make the comments and that these women are making up these allegations. And then third, well, maybe you were possibly joking around, you had some alcohol, that type of thing, and maybe that fueled some of these comments. We know that happens sometimes. But are you saying that these comments never took place, they weren't fueled by alcohol, and that these women are completely making up these allegations?
If there's any joking around, period, it's never with a female. Locker room talk, Trump has been guilty of it multiple times, but it's never with a female. It's always with my friends, and I was with multiple males that went through the class with me multiple times. And again, let's talk about a little bit of the timeline type thing. Is I want to understand. I ran for the appointment 4 years ago. Apparently, when these happened, right, 4 years ago, none of it came up. 2 years later, I had to run for re-election. Not a peep. No campaign finance violations. No complaints. No nothing. Nothing from anyone. Not a peep. And then all of a sudden, the minute I decide to run against a certain individual for a leadership position, boom, the next morning, the allegations were sent one day at a time only to the representatives that could cost a vote for me for the whip position. Now, if that's not suspicious, I don't know what is. The worst part is that you continue the timeline, and this is the hardest part, because Carolyn and I went through this. We were invited to South Dakota for 4th of July, so the timeline is actually very clear in our heads. We were driving out to South Dakota when all of this hit. I had called Representative Bradley the night before to be a respectful gentleman and tell her directly before she found from anybody else that I was putting my name in to be the next whip of the House leadership team. And it was a shoo-in. I mean, people had come to me practically begging to have me as the whip of the party after refusing 1,000 times, but called to service from my fellow caucus members. I decided to do it. Lo and behold, it was the silliest decision I've ever made in my life because of all the slander that came on literally the 12 hours after. It's absolutely absurd. The proven track record, and people who know me, I'm not that type of guy at all, especially to women.
It's Representative Ron Weinberg, Colorado State Representative, alongside his wife, taking these allegations head on. Representative, what do you think is happening with you and Brandy Bradley? Can you speculate as to, from your perspective, why she has brought these allegations to light, you think?
I'll be quite honest. I absolutely have no clue. Brandy and I have never had a working relationship, a good working relationship. We've always disagreed. If anybody knows me, I'm the 4th most Republican conservative down at the House of Representatives. On a scale with rankings, I am an A representative down there for liberty and freedom and prosperity. Some things we just don't get on with. We never have since, being 3 years going on 4 in the legislature, and we've always had our tiffs. I didn't think it would ever get so personal and ugly like this with politics. This is truly political slander, and it has done absolute damage and irreversible damage, which is I'll never come back from. I don't know how to even answer that question. I don't know what anybody would be worth doing to do this to somebody. This is absolutely and truly disgusting.
Now, Representative Weinberg, your wife's sitting next to you. We haven't talked about including her, but she is next to you, and you're welcome to speak. These allegations are directly at the core of who your husband is. Would you like to respond at all to these allegations?
Sorry, it's my first time being on anything, so I'm a little nervous. I'll tell you one thing. I've been with him side by side, whether it's at the Capitol, these events. He doesn't want to go to these events if I don't want to go. So I feel like I I have to go with him and stand by his side because of anyone can accuse, and this is absolutely ridiculous. I'm a woman too, and when I hear other women claim that we need to believe all women, I feel sorry for the ones that actually need to be believed. And as a conservative, and the Democrats doing that to men, and as a conservative, I don't believe in that at all. I believe in due process, and I would never, ever accuse a man, because Trump went through it and Kavanaugh went through it.
And that's what we were talking about, because we watched the Kavanaugh trial just really intently, and we're just shocked of what he went through, and we're going through that right now. I don't think people really could fathom what has actually happened. Like one thing after another. We wait every single day. When all these accusations first came out, a reporter called me, because God, I love to be in the news stream, especially negative. The reporter's hounding me, and we candidly talk to reporters, and they know me, and we see each other at the Capitol every day. And I asked him frankly, I said, you really don't believe any of this stuff, right? And he said straight out, he's like, Ron, they said that there are going to be more people coming forward, more staffers, more aides, people that work at the Capitol. He was like, Ron, do you understand that they're promising like 20 other victims? And we've been waiting every single day for months at this point, and not anybody else came forward. I just don't understand. So we've been it's every day is a nightmare. We wait for something else to come up, and it's all from the same individual. We're literally waiting for the next thing to pop up on the news, and wait to be the next news cycle on a Tuesday going all the way through the week.
Representative Ron Weinberg, alongside his wife, he serves as a Colorado state representative, addressing some of the allegations in a Denver Post article regarding campaign finance violations and others. They're all alleged. Representative, one of the accusations made towards you is that you have a drinking problem. Is that true?
No, not at all. The drinking problem is absolutely ridiculous.
Well, I sure appreciate you taking time to join us. Representative Brandy Bradley does want to come on afterwards. What's your message to her in the midst of all of this?
We're Republicans. We do not need to be fighting each other. We need to be a unified front. We have far left radical crazies that we are dealing with on a 120-day basis. We have enough to fight with. We have enough to battle with. There's no reason to continue attacking each other. If I've offended you or hurt you in any way, I sincerely apologize. We need to go into this next session as a team and working together. I don't see us going and keeping Gabe Evans' seats for the Republican CD8, keeping Lauren Boebert in there, Jeff Hurd, Jeff Craig. I don't see keeping a Republican 4-4 of this being any benefit to how we go into next year as Republicans. We do it. We do this to each other, and I don't understand why. I've seen it, been in politics for 8 years, and I've seen it. We try to eat each other alive. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I'm absolutely against it. I would never do this or wish this upon any person. And I truly hope that we can come to a conclusion and go and actually fight the real battle that's happening in the state, which is the far left radicals that are taking over all of our government institutions and coming after our children. Being somebody with an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old, that's very, very important to me as well. So
help me understand where the legal process goes from here, because from what I understand, the women have not sued you. They made these allegations. You have sued them for what you claim are slanderous allegations. They, I think, seem to have responded with an anti-SLAPP response that they believe that you can't sue them because they're quote-unquote whistleblowers. So where does this go legally from here?
A judge has to decide, because I am an elected official, whether this can even be heard in court or not. The judge has to decide at this point whether it falls under the category that because I'm an elected official, under the anti-SLAPP law passed in 2019, that anybody can say anything about an elected official and there can be no retaliation because of the elected official. It was a bill in order to place protections over private citizens against slander from elected officials and intimidation.
I want to pivot now, talk about your legislative agenda. So I really appreciate you coming on, addressing all of these. You didn't have to do that. Thank you for doing that. All right, you're preparing, as you mentioned, Democrats' total control down at the state capitol. You have a limited number of bills you're going to get to run. What is your legislative agenda this upcoming session?
To be quite frank, I have no legislative agenda. I'm shutting down bills. I'm going in there to argue and fight and shut down bills. I, at this point, have pulled no bill titles. I've dabbled in some ideas. I haven't got to a finite conclusion, but running 500 bills every single year is not of benefit to the Colorado citizen. So at this point, I'm working to move to a pledge of actually running zero and focusing on shutting bad bills down. Bringing to light.
That's regular. That's what is constant down there. I think always want to help people understand what happens at the state capitol, because it's a special interest delivery operation that takes place down there. Groups like the ACLU, Planned Parenthood, they're the primary donors behind Democrat campaigns, and then they actually draft the bills that many Democrat lawmakers run. So all that's often happening is not what benefits the people of Colorado, but whatever the special interests that paid for the lawmakers to get elected want to do. How do you combat those special interests at the state capitol, Representative?
You have logical conversations, and you show them how this is going to destroy the constituents' lives, and you bring transparency around their constituency to what their representatives are bringing forth. In fact, if there's any legislative agenda down there for me, I'm going to run bills that will take away bills. So there's a way to discuss. And, to be very frank, it's not all Democrats are enemies. There are very decent Democrats down there. It's the far left that has found their way into that building that are truly passing ridiculous things that handcuff our police, that kill babies, and destroy our school and education. They've gone off to the core fundamentals, and they continue to do it time and time again.
And it seems like the socialists and the far left have more and more power. Talk about that dynamic. We've seen some of the headlines of moderate Democrats going to a retreat up in Vail, the progressives filing ethics complaints against them in what seems to be an effort to remove them from office. It seems like the big battle now is between the socialists and the moderate Democrats. Talk about that dynamic at the state capitol.
That's an excellent topic. It's absolutely right. It's those Democrats that were at that retreat, they literally, from my understanding, they sidestepped all of the crazy, and they won't even let the crazy in because they've identified it. So there's some hope here, and that's what we have to work to take advantage of is politics was not built with one party in mind. Politics was built with different ideas. If we could partner with those progressive Democrats who are not radicalized, think about it, we would then be in a majority. We need to be pushing towards working with the Democratic Party, the Democrats that are sensible, not against and against and against. Now, you'll always have the 10% of bills that will never agree on with them. But the 90% will do the best for Colorado, and it would put Republicans at the table to be able to do good things for citizens that are here.
Representative Ron Weinberg joining us. Representative, final question to you. You're having to deal with the headlines. You're dealing with the accusations. You're going to have to get reelected. What's your message to voters in the midst of all this?
The message to voters is, you know who I am, and the ballot box will decide whether I get to have the honor to continue to represent you or not, and that is always up to the ballot box. I am steadfast, firm in who I am as a person and what I've done. I love my wife, I love my family, I love my friends. They've really gotten me through this. I wake up every morning and I put that armor of God on and I represent the people, and I believe I do it well. And the people will decide that next November, and whatever it may be, it's the people's decision, and I will accept either or. But I am honored and proud to be House District 51 representative. I'm going to go into the session strong. There's going to be more headlines, I'm sure. I'm going to keep fighting through it and keep pressing. I've got no other options. I know who I am as a person. I know what I am and what I do. My wife stands by my side and loves me, and I love her very much. She's my absolute rock through all of this. And I just want to give a huge shout out to my friends. You know who you are, and I know you're listening right now. But I couldn't have gone through and still go through all this stuff without the support of them and my family being right next to me, on my hip and by my side. And to my constituents, I'll continue to serve with integrity and don't believe every headline. Fake news media is a real thing, and I'm here to honor and serve the position.
Well, we appreciate your time today. If you want to learn more about Ron Weinberg, go to weinbergforcolorado.com, weinbergforcolorado.com. Thank you so much for taking time to join us, to take those questions, to take those allegations head on. Representative Ron Weinberg. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, coming up, Brandy Bradley is going to join us. She wants some time to respond. What is she going to have to say? You're not going to want to miss this conversation. The hottest Top Talk radio show in Denver. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. We just heard from Representative Ron Weinberg, headline out of the Denver Post, state investigating him for alleged campaign finance violations. He addressed a lot of the questions in that article, as well as some allegations that have been made against him, primarily from Representative Brandy Bradley. Ryan Weinberg making the argument that he's being set up. He's being Kavanaugh'd. None of this is true. Well, she's joining us. This was not scheduled. We sure appreciate her taking the time to call in and be a part of this program. Representative Brandy Bradley, thank you, Representative, for your time this morning.
Yes, thank you.
Good morning, guys. Always a pleasure.
All right. Are you setting up Representative Weinberg? Is this an effort to Kavanaugh him?
I don't think about him that much to set him up. Sorry to say that. Listen, I have not commented. I have not done any reports. I've had journalists call me. Y'all are the first show I've gone on. I've been taking care of my child who was in an almost fatal accident 12 weeks ago. So I'm going to set the record straight and then I'm done. He called me about the minority whip position that I had decided to run for because no one else was going to run for it. In all actuality, Ken DeGraff and I were talking about it behind the scenes. When he called me, when Representative Weinberg called me, my jaw hit the ground. This is a man who is never in committees, who has gotten on 20 plus bills almost every session with Democrats. I'm not even going to comment on the drinking because there's no accountability there. He doesn't even show up to caucus meetings, and he is going to have the audacity to run as a leadership position in my caucus. And then in January, stole a master key and let me in Stephanie Luck's office. In front of 7 different people, let me in her office. This is not about slander, guys. I don't have time to slander him. He does it plenty himself with the truth. They changed 8 different locks in leadership positions. Speaker McCluskey changed 8 different locks on doors. So you tell me if they weren't worried about him having a key. I saw it with my own eyes. He whipped out his keychain with a master key that he made a copy of and opened another office with that key to a representative's office that was not his. I am not here to slander Weinberg. I am here to repeal bills, protect children, the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, and to take care of my son. I am not going to sit here and listen to his wife, who drugged me on social media, talk about that he's a respectful gentleman. Please, the things that he has said to me, if my husband knew, he'd be drugged down Colfax. So we're not going to talk about him being a respectful gentleman. There are plenty of Democrats that would come forward and talk about how he's such a respectful gentleman. This is all I'm going to say on the subject. He needs to have accountability. And apparently I was going to have grace and forgiveness for this man, but a zebra does not change its stripes.
That's Representative Brandy Bradley responding in a forceful and direct way to Representative Ron Weinberg, who we had just heard in the previous segment. It sounds like I'm just trying to understand motivations here. Representative Ron Weinberg says your allegations, while not true, is an effort to stop him from taking on leadership roles. It sounds like your motivation, from your perspective, is that he is a bad apple that needs to be addressed. And Republican, Democrat, it doesn't matter. You're going to call him out. Is that what's happening here?
100% Republican. We have Amendment 41 for a reason. We have that in place. You see what the Opportunity Caucus is going through right now. We should all be held accountable. We have 6 million people in the state, 100 people representing those people. We take an oath. We are supposed to represent the people in our districts. I'm taking a huge pay cut because I take this role very seriously. We have a state to save. We have children to save. We have a Second Amendment to save. I am not going to go work with children when our state is in dire stress right now. People can't afford to even live in our state or pay their mortgages and property taxes. I don't have time to slander people right now.
Do you see yourself able to work with Representative Weinberg this upcoming session, or is this totally a burnt bridge?
Oh, he doesn't affect me. or the job that I am elected to do.
Brandy Bradley, want to talk to you about the idea and role of the whip and that leadership position. You talked about Representative Weinberg not showing up for caucuses and not participating in those type of, backroom strategy type sessions. If I gave you kind of, the Jeff and Bill magic wand, what do you think the minority whip needs to do and also represent? How do you describe that position?
Well, first, Bill, you have to actually be on the floor and know what's going on to actively whip people to be down there speaking about the bills at present. You can't just do a ChatGPT speech and get your 3 minutes on social media, to put it bluntly. You have to be present. You have to be a leader. You have to lead by example. You have to attend committee meetings. You have to know what the bill states. You don't get on 20 different bills with Democrats. I mean, these are all factors that play into it, and you certainly can't steal a key to the Capitol building and let people into offices. And I will tell you that Democrats came forward and said, thank you for putting this story or telling your truth, which I had sat on that since January, because I love my party and I don't want to see more warfare on the Republican Party in Colorado. But by God, we have got to do better.
Now, Brandy Bradley, I don't want to put words into your mouth, but I want to kind of reflect what I'm hearing from you. Is during our conversation with Representative Ron Weinberg, he made a point that a lot of these allegations and these complaints come up after he declares for the whip position. And what I'm hearing from you is that these allegations became relevant after he declared for the whip position. And what I mean by that is not that you're trying to submarine him, but there are people on the GOP side of the aisle that have a concern about putting him in a leadership position, given some other behaviors and track record of, as you are saying, not being in caucus, not being on the floor, not knowing what the bills are. Is it fair, the way that I described this, that this may not necessarily be a personal takedown, but it is a professional series of questions and indictments about placing him into that leadership role? I just want to make sure that I'm crystallizing this type, the back and forth and this, friction properly. Is that a fair characterization in your mind?
100%. This has nothing to do with any personal vendetta. This is professional. Again, there's 100 of us that represent almost 6 million people. There are people that would vie to do these positions, to represent the people of Colorado. And we should hold that into the highest regard and esteem. This is professionalism at its best. I work in healthcare. We're supposed to be professionals, and we should hold each other in highest regard, and in leadership especially. And I just could not sit on that anymore. I was not going to vote for someone in leadership, and I was not going to let members of my caucus vote for that without knowing everything that was happening behind the scenes.
That's Brandy.
And I'll tell you,
ahead, please.
Can I tell you one more thing, Jeff?
Yeah.
When Kevin Van Winkle ran for commissioner, that seat was vacated. I could have easily run for the Senate. If I wanted to run for a higher position, that is not, people have asked me, are you going to run for Congress? I don't even know if I'm running for HC 39. That is not Brandy Bradley's goal, to keep running for higher offices, to keep running for whip or minority leader. I am taking every day one step at a time. This is not an abolishment of Ron because I wanted to be the minority whip. That was never the plan from the get-go. This is not a personal vendetta against Ron.
Representative Brandy Bradley responding to our interview with Representative Ron Weinberg. Representative Bradley, final question. We're up against a break here. How's your boy doing? I know he's been through a lot.
Oh my gosh, you guys, thank you so much for all your prayers. We find out tomorrow if he gets out of a wheelchair, and then flying to Salt Lake next week to see if we can get some answers for his paralyzed arm. So I appreciate all the prayers coming in. That is my priority right now. And so I'm going to keep focusing.
All right. So, yeah, prayer warriors out there, focus a little bit. Brandy's got some tough things coming up that would really, help out.
Representative
Thanks,
Brandy
guys.
Bradley responding to Representative Ron Weinberg. I did text him about the key issue. His response to me on that, I absolutely do not have a master key, nor have I ever stolen a key. All right, we'll continue. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Bro, what an hour.
Yeah.
I want to thank both Representative Weinberg, his wife, Brandy Bradley, everybody.
Yes, thank you.
I mean,
for
the whole point of this show is to be the place where the debate happens because it doesn't happen on any other show.
Yeah.
And they both were a part of that. And thank you for Representative Weinberg taking these allegations head on. There's a lot of politicians that just won't do that. He did that, and then Representative Bradley giving her side. So,
yeah.
And now Jarvis Caldwell's got to figure it all out. He's the head of the Republicans.
Yeah.
House of Representatives.
Thank goodness
You
I'm
think
not in
they
that
can work together? You think they can figure that out?
Yeah, I think they can because what I'm hoping for is some of what Representative Bradley said, that there are greater things at stake than these professional and personal issues.
I heard that from Weinberg, too.
Yeah, that's it. That's really what it is focus on the real issue, and that's constituents and the problems in the state.
We're Denver's top talk radio show for a reason. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
What the heck's going to happen tomorrow? 710 KNUS.